Alright, you lot, gather round, cause it's time for another dose of unfiltered gaming rants. And this one's going straight for jugular. Why is it that Call of Duty fanboys can't seem to handle truth? Turns out answer might lie in their IQ. Yep, I've got hard data to back it up, and believe me, it's not looking good for console warriors of COD. But before we dive into why your average COD lobby is essentially a kindergarten for grown-ups, don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that bollocks. It helps the channel grow, and frankly, I need all help I can get to tolerate these twonks. Let's kick this off with some brutal honesty. You know, I always wondered why COD fanboys in my comments feel like stepping into a zoo where half the animals are screeching nonsense and other half are flinging verbal feces. Well, turns out science has given us answer. According to a recent study, Call of Duty players are rocking an average IQ of 95.3. Let me put that into perspective for you. That's below average. In fact, it's so low that even FIFA players, ultimate button mashers at sports gaming world, are looking at you and saying, at least we're not those guys. Now, before COD fanboys start sharpening the pitchforks, let me add this little nugget. Console players, specifically Xbox players, scored lower than PC gamers in general intelligence, by a whopping 8 IQ points on average. Combine that with COD's player base, and you're left with a crowd that's about as sharp as a soggy piece of toast. And cherry on top, League of Legends players, those smug bastards, are strutting around with an average IQ of 120.4. That's nearly 25 points higher than COD lot. If this were a school exam, COD players would bit ones licking desks while everyone else actually learns something. Pathetic. Now let's dissect this further, cause, oh boy, it gets juicier. According to the same research, your IQ ain't just tied to what game you play. It's also linked to what you play it on. And surprise, surprise, PC players reign supreme, average at a respectable IQ at 114.1. Meanwhile, console players are dragging the knuckles somewhere far below that. PlayStation players? They're sitting at 111, which is decent, I'll give them that. Xbox players, however, tumbled down to 105.9. Now that's not rock bottom, but when you consider how many COD players are Xbox diehards, it paints a grim picture. Xbox COD players are statistically more likely to bit one screaming incoherently into their headsets at 2 AM cause the mum didn't bring the chicken nuggets fast enough. And don't even get me started on Nintendo Switch. Those players are down at 103.4, though they've got excuse of playing games meant for toddlers and plumbers in dungarees. COD fanboys? You've got no excuse. But here's kicker. COD's average IQ at 95.3 manages to sit comfortably below even that. It's like a race at bottom, and COD fanboys decided to show up with shovels. Honestly, you lot couldn't outthink a goldfish with brain fog. So now that we've established that Call of Duty players rank somewhere between questionable and oh dear god why on intelligence scale, let's talk about what this low IQ translates to in gaming world. Spoiler alert, it's not exactly Nobel Prize worthy behaviour. If you've spent more than 5 minutes in a COD lobby, or seen those fanboys in my comments, you know what I mean. Toxicity is so thick you could cut it with a knife. And that's on a good day. Racial slurs, death threats, mum jokes from people whose voices aren't even cracked yet. It's like game comes with a built-in cringe filter that amplifies every idiotic thought these players have. Now why is this happening? Simple. When you combine a game that thrives on quick reflexes of a critical thinking with a player base statistically less likely to understand phrase critical thinking, you get a cocktail of ignorance, aggression, and a total inability to take constructive criticism. And this isn't just an individual problem, it's a culture. COD lobbies are essentially echo chambers for stupidity. Got a 12-year-old calling your names? Great! 3 more will join in. Want to discuss actual strategy in a match? Forget it. COD players treat teamwork like it's an optional DLC they can't afford. But real kicker? Fanboys defend this nonsense like it's sacred. Oh, that's just COD. It's part of experience. Mate, no. Toxicity into selling point, it's a disease. And the fact that so many of you are okay with it just proves my point. Low IQ and COD go together like bad decisions and tequila shots. Now let's talk about game itself. Because honestly, current state of Call of Duty is doing its fanboys no favours. If this franchise were a house, it'd be condemned and bulldozed faster than you can say skill-based matchmaking. Let's start with Warzone, supposed crown jewel of COD universe. At first it were fresh, exciting, and dare I say it, fun. But now, it's a buggy, bloated mess. Map rotations feel like they were designed by someone who's never seen a map before, and constant updates are less about fixing problems and more about introducing new ones. It's like trying to patch a sinking ship with duct tape and all. And don't even get me started on Black Ops 6. Trash maps, half-assed storytelling, gameplay mechanics that scream, we ran out of ideas, but please give us your money. How these games manage to sell millions of copies every year is beyond me. Oh, wait, no it's not. 'Cause you lot keep buying it. But here's the thing that really gets under my skin. COD fanboys defending this mediocrity like it's second coming of gaming. It's not that bad, they say, while shelling out 60 quid for a glorified DLC pack. Meanwhile, other games, actual games that innovate and respect the players, are blowing COD out at water. Look at Counter-Strike, Baldur's Gate 3, or even Rainbow Six Siege. These titles demand intelligence, strategy, and teamwork, whereas COD demands, well, apparently just a pulsant ability to scream into mic. And yet fanboys flock to comments screaming their undying love for COD as if Activision sends them Christmas cards every year. Newsflash, they don't care about you. They care about your wallet. And the fact that you keep feeding them proves all low IQ point perfectly. Let's wrap this up and talk about why calling out this nonsense isn't just a rant. It's public service. It's not just me being harsh but sacred. It's facts, logic, and a sprinkle of common sense. If you're a COD player who loves game but can admit its flaws, you're alright in my book. But if you want rabid fanboys who's still typing out an angry comment while drooling on your controller, I think we both know I've hit a nerve. Here's takeaway. Gaming deserves better than what Call of Duty has become, and so do we. Stop accepting mediocrity. Stop defending garbage design. And for love of all things holy, stop pretending that COD's still pinnacle of shooters. It's not. Numbers don't lie, and neither do I. If you made it this far without smashing your keyboard in rage, then congratulations. You've already proven you're smarter than average COD fanboy. And for that, I salute you. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave your comments and questions below. Go on, don't be shy. Might just feature your thoughts in a future video, especially if they're as sharp as my wit. And I'll see you next time, you magnificent